Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Michelle Abbs. I am the CEO and founder of Web3 Equity, and I am here for my favorite part of the day, Tuttle Talk, where I get to hang out with friends and just talk about things that are happening in Web3 and things that we're intrigued by, things we're excited about. So I am really grateful to have, two folks that I have gotten to know very well in our rabbit hole deep dive into all things NFT and Web3. And so I'm going to let them introduce themselves to you all, so you get to know them as well as I know them, and then they're going to become your friends as well. And we're just going to have some Tuttle talk about the things we are excited about in Web3, the things we're a little trepidatious about as well. So Ralph and Gabriela are joining me here, and I'd like to let them introduce themselves to you. So
very nice to be here with you, ladies. Very nice to meet all of you. When you say friends, is that F-R-E-N-S?
Correct. The correct spelling of friends. Very important.
Absolutely. So I'm Ralph Quintero. I started my kind of Web3 journey a couple of years ago when I first stepped into crypto, but really went down the rabbit hole last year when I discovered NFTs. That was life-changing for me. Because up to that point, I really didn't care to understand about the underlying technology, about blockchain as it pertained to crypto. But NFTs really changed that. It changed the way that I thought about it. It changed the way that I saw that, the way that it was going to revolutionize the world and the way that we see things and do things. So that was my journey in, and I've really gone in head first, like you said, down that rabbit hole. As of January of this year, I'm working full-time in the Web3 space. I have a corporate background, private equity, and I've come down this path now that I'm super excited about. I'm also the chief GM officer for JPEG Morgan. I provide a daily alpha report on kind of the...
No. You don't provide daily alpha. He provides Ralpha. It's very important. Ralph Quintero, Ralpha, TM, right?
TM.
We're trademarking that for sure.
That. And it's really kind of a snapshot of what's going on in the NFT space. I started it out as a little family project for us to be on top of what was going on, and it's finding its way all over Web3 right now, which I'm very proud of. And I help teach people what they should be looking for, and at the same time I'm learning, they're learning. So.
Yeah, and we're grateful that grew from the small family to now the firm family, and it also includes Gabriela as part of that.
Thank you, Michelle, for having me here, and great to see you,
Ralph. Great to see you too,
Ralpha. So I'm Gabriela Sabate, and I'm very happy to be here and share this panel with you guys and with everybody in the audience as well. My Web3 part of my career started I should say a little bit 2017, but in reality deep dive late last year when, thanks to Michelle and thanks to Ralph, I joined JPEG Morgan. So that opened up the world of NFTs. Well, I had been introduced a little bit before that, but really it was a fast track, and a deep dive into this rabbit hole together. And it really, it's interesting how that opens up, and being in contact and interacting with people in the same space, accelerates. And the rate of acceleration is incredible. You start feeling like, a week seems like a month, seems like a year.
Oh
things
my gosh.
like that.
Crazy. Tuttle time, I think actually NFT time is its own time warp, right?
A time warp.
It is.
Totally.
Even sleeping is nope, you can't sleep because what is happening right now?
Yes, what is happening?
Hyper speed, right? And to your point, the connections that are made within digital communities, alpha chat communities, they're sped up as well because we are incessantly on our phones talking about what is happening. So
these passions together is something that Web3 allows. Because Web3 touches every single industry and every single group of people and every single thing into the future. Possibilities are really endless. So.
Yeah. So this idea too of health tech entrepreneur, private equity reformed educator, right? Multiple disciplines coming together in Web3 is one of the things that gets me really excited, and making sure that as many people from as many backgrounds jump into this moment. So I want to dive into the things that pull us in to Web3 and what we think some of the best use cases that we see that are coming down the pike maybe, or we've already dabbled with. I'm really curious to hear what's top of mind for you guys.
So from my perspective, I'll say that there's three things, and I'm going to take it like up a level. Right?
You always do. I like it. Bring it up.
So from my perspective, I think one, it brings community, and that's something that we heard across all three of our intros today. How powerful community is in Web3. The second thing is really opportunity. There's never been a better opportunity, and we can dive into that a little bit. I have some perspective on that. And then finally, ownership. This is a way that you can own things in a way that the world has never seen, and really provides access to a lot of people, which is essentially what you were alluding to.
Yeah, and let's drill into even the concept of ownership. One of the things I'm most excited about in the creator economy, right? So being a musician, let's say, and trying to really get your music out to the masses in a Web 2 world is quite a trudge. It's like, granted, no, you don't want to hear me sing. I was like kicked out of church choir. Like, I am not a musician, so like we're not going to go into that.
So tune into episode 3 to hear Michelle sing.
That is only unlocked if you buy enough NFTs. That comes with the ta-da singing voice. No, the Tuttle singing voice. Yes. But musicians like are grinding out there for every single view on YouTube, every single Spotify download, and ownership in Web3 kind of takes out the middleman between the creator and the person who's buying the asset. And I think in music, that's the place where I'm most excited. I don't know if you guys saw the State of Crypto that A16Z put out. Yeah. And they actually shared the numbers around how much creators in the music space in particular made in Web 2 and can make in Web 3. And that was less than 1 penny on the dollar in Web 2. And then in Web 3, we're talking about tens of thousands. So ownership, to your point, and then from a creator perspective, being able to have your community own it is quite lucrative now.
Right, and as a backer of the arts, a lover of music, what a great experience to actually own a piece of what's happening and know that the money that you're spending on these projects is going directly to support the artists.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's not going to pay some guy's salary in like his limo bills and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right? It's going straight to the artist who's going to continue to produce incredible stuff.
Yeah, and well, this is going to be really interesting to see, like, what happens. Will the starving artist concept like go away, and does the starving artist actually, propel them to make even better art? But like, or maybe not. Let's not have any more starving artists and see what happens there too. But there's not going to be the same amount of sort of challenge or like roadblocks to continue to fuel that. Because you're right, as a backer, you might buy more into a project because you're like, this is so good, I want to see more from this creator, and so I want to give them the liquidity and the freedom to keep creating.
So to me, that takes us right back. Like I've always said, history repeats itself. We're back to the Renaissance, right? Yeah. We're back to the families that would be patrons of the arts, right? That they were supporting artists for the sake of supporting artists and to bring incredible and beautiful creations to life. And we're living that again right now. We're also living, like, I may date myself a little bit, but if you go back to 1994.
You were born in the Renaissance?
No, No, but 1994, I graduated high school, right? And July of that year, the cover of Time magazine had a headline that said, "The internet ? Is it here to stay?" Right? And there was no commercial email, like we didn't have personal email addresses. There was none of that, right? And it wasn't until November, December of that year that America Online started sending out floppy disks to people's homes. And that was kind of the first time that the general public had the ability to surf the web and hear, "You've got mail," right? And that forever changed the world as we know it, right? I think we would all agree on that.
Absolutely.
Back then, as a recent high school grad, I was looking at all this opportunity and I was seeing like how much potential there was. The problem back then for somebody like me, one, I didn't have the resources. It wasn't accessible. There wasn't information readily available. I still had Encyclopedia Britannica at home, the World Book Encyclopedia, or you had to go to the library. You couldn't connect to anything.
Yeah.
right? And the technology that was available to maybe a dozen large companies around the world. And they were slowly starting to feed it out to people to build upon. Fast forward to today and what's happening with Web3, now we all have access to technology. We can hire somebody halfway across the world in a matter of seconds. We can communicate instantly. And that just changes the game because you don't need venture capital. You don't need millions of dollars. You don't need the technology. It's here. So I think that, in the same way that we saw from 1994 to today, the speed at which the internet, had its uptake, I think we're going to see that 100x with Web3.
Absolutely, yeah. And that hyperspeed, that we were talking about and the time warp of it all, we might even see that not necessarily be, let me do the math, 2022 minus 94.
It's like
20-something years.
Yeah.
Almost 30
years.
Did you guys see that? My elementary school teachers are really embarrassed because they were like, she can't do mental math. No, I can't. Almost 30 years. I don't know that it will take 30 years for Web3. I think it'll be even quicker. Yes. And Gabriela, you got to get in here with your ideas because I have been in some of these sub chats with you, specifically around like play to earn models and different ways that we're seeing pop up in Web3. And I think those have the potential to have a level of mass adoption very quickly that maybe will see a world where it's less than 30-something years before we're at a point that it's so ingrained with everyone. So what are the things you're most excited about, the best use cases in Web3?
I'm excited about so many. Ralph mentioned some that I'm also excited about. I'm very excited about the possibility of having a little bit more privacy given back and control, tied to what Ralph mentioned about the artists and you mentioned about musicians earning their way and developing a new kind of economy where their role is going to be a little different. I also see the control that they can have over their creations as a very important aspect that Web3 brings about with its technology and the business models. One is having control. When do I resell this piece of art or music? Do I get some royalties out of that back if I'm an artist? But also, if you're a person, if you're a regular person and you have your own DNA and you have your own health records or whatever information is important to you, your own documents, how is it that Web3 can, and I believe it can, give you more control over what I share? Because the information is mine, my DNA. Whenever you go to a lab and you give a sample in a lab, that's yours, right? It stops being yours because you give it out. But how can you get some sort of control and not necessarily being paid for it, and although that's also a possibility to use parts of your DNA and get money for it, but not only because of that, but just because I want to protect myself or my descendants from that possibility. How do I get control? When do I elect to share, to open the share, and to stop the share of some information that's very relevant and important to me?
That's actually a great point. Just recently, BlackRock announced that they were taking a majority share in Ancestry.com.
Oh, I didn't hear this.
So there's hundreds of thousands, millions of people that have shared their DNA with Ancestry.
Exactly.
And now one of the largest corporations in the world owns all of your DNA information. And I mean, technically, you really don't have a lot of control over what they're going to be doing with that data. There are some provisions on their website where you could ask them to send it back, but without the controls that Web3 provides, where you could actually take it back by stopping that access, in the Web2 world, you don't have that kind of control. So this is spot on.
Companies like Genobank are trying to do that and recover or protect end users, help the end users protect their own DNA or genomic samples or just biosamples. Yeah. In general, that's one, and it doesn't only apply to health. That's an area where I'm in a bit more, but it's a general thing. How do you get control of the data that belongs to you, of your possessions that are important to you, be it your body or some creation or your children or family or whatever it is? So that's a very important use case. Another use case that you just mentioned that's fascinating to me is, as a mom of teenagers, and I've seen them gaming in more centralized gaming arenas, and the fight between the mom and the kid. Don't play so much, or yes, you end up as a mom and besides, I'm in tech, so I'm a tech mom also, but you get involved in the game. So transitioning from those centralized platforms of gaming over to an area that Web3 allows, which is play to earn. How can you play, but you earn in the middle? And lately, we have shared, Michelle and I, a couple of applications where we earn to stay fit. Mm-hmm. So that's, you too, Ralph, right?
No,
not yet. Okay.
We just outed him on his. He's like,
convince me.
all right,
we're
not getting you in the running.
So we're getting some NFT sneakers on, and we're out there and providing ourselves, or giving ourselves a good life and staying fit.
Yeah.
As you see us now, right?
So with taking this
thanks
play
to
earn, right, and essentially that verb play, you can take that out and insert any other verb and incentivize that verb to earn.
Exactly.
By putting in a mechanics.
Learn to earn. Engage to earn.
Meditate to earn. Volunteer to earn. Right? There's so many things.
You put it right on something. You sparked a thought. Behavioral economics. I'm big on behavioral economics. I love that sphere, and which in essence means, the goals that we want to achieve in the long term. When someone asks us, what do you want to do long term, and we say this thing, but in the middle, sometimes we don't choose the right things to get there, right? So using Web3 and the models like play to earn, or stay fit to earn, or volunteer to earn, can help us and can enable good conducts in the middle, or conducts that are conducive to letting us achieve those long-term goals. And I think it's a fantastic whole new world that opens up.
It's actually also a way to, it's kind of like the great equalizer, right? It provides a way for underserved communities, underrepresented communities, the opportunity to earn by doing things that in the past they haven't been able to, right? So like you could imagine. Perfect example is, I don't know if you're familiar with the Axie Infinity, a big play-to-earn game and economy. There are entire cities in the Philippines whose entire economy is built on Axie Infinity, on playing the game. Like all of the citizens of those particular cities are just playing those games, and they're earning, and they're able to provide a much better living for their families than they would doing the jobs that they were doing before. And it's incredible. It's incredible that this technology is enabling that, and we've never seen anything like that in the world.
Yeah, and I think as optimistic and excited as we all are, what I appreciate about both of you is there's a level of like measured thoughtfulness around this too, because one of the things with, when I think about the impact of Axie Infinity, and actually Jiho spoke at the conference last year, and so I really got to know, that entire ecosystem there, and it has made quite an impact on communities in the Philippines. And some of the things I think about, though, with that are, so what that means is that we're incentivizing a generation of kids who's earning money by like sitting in front of a computer and playing a game, right? Like, so there are some parts of Web3 that we are in this moment still, because it's quite early, tinkering and toying with the architecture of it, and we hope that we want to get it right this time, right? So we want to be thoughtful about these things, and some of the impacts of them. So what are the things you guys think about, like, this is a use case in Web3 that we should be on the lookout for, and make sure that as we're building the architecture moving forward, we're taking this into account?
I think looking at it from that perspective, security is one, right? We're early in this space. Anytime you're pioneering a new technology, discovering new gold mines, whatever it is, there's always going to be scammers, or in this case, using our vocabulary, rugs or serial ruggers, right? When you get rugged, it means that they've pulled the rug out from under you, and you've lost whatever money you invested in that project or that NFT. I still think that that's a big problem, right? Because of the inherent privacy built around Web3, and a lot of people being undoxed, meaning that they're hiding behind an online persona, there's still those use cases or those times where they come out and they scam people. So you have to be very aware of what's going on. And I think that the industry as a whole needs to do a better job at fixing those things. It's interesting, though, because if you really look at it, the blockchain is so transparent. It's incredible. It's incredibly transparent. Like you could go back and trace all of the transactions. But even then, we're seeing some of these things happen. So security for me is one that I think we need to work on. I think to your point though, on having the generation of kids sitting, behind a computer to, playing to earn and not being outside or stuff like that. I think things like the platform that you guys mentioned, Steppen, I believe that's the one you're using.
That's right.
All right, because I know there's a couple of them out there. But
we have a couple more because we're into fitness.
But that's what gets you outside, right?
Yep.
So I know that there's a local company here in Miami, we're Miami-based, that's building kind of a platform around going to do beach cleanups. Right? And then there's another platform out there that's doing acts of random kindness. So there's a lot of things that you can incentivize with this that's going to just, I think, prevent people from just sitting behind their computers all day.
Yeah. I'm hopeful for that too, absolutely. And Gabriela, do you have any thoughts on
things that are a little negative of Web3? I think that they tie again, as Ralph mentioned, to being early in the tech development of it. Because for example, one thing that I would say it's difficult for everybody to jump in because there are a lot of technical details here and there that you need to know, you need to be careful of. So if I were to recommend this to someone who's not that tech savvy, perhaps I would be sitting next to them, monitoring their onboarding, right? So that they don't lose something.
If they needed someone,
so that needs to change. So that needs to change, right? It needs to be easy. It needs to be a little bit more secure without necessarily. There's a tension there and a balance to be achieved between being custodial, as currently Web 2 is, or our life is in general custodial, meaning our decisions. There is an intermediary in the middle of our ownerships and our decisions, and it could be a bank, it could be an online platform, a social media site, whatever it could be that handles I forgot my password, let me reset it, and they do it for us. So I lost this, and they help us recover things. So
I'm not really ready to be my own custodian of these things because I rely on customer service quite a bit. Like Amex, Chase Bank, sorry, you get calls from me because I forget my passwords a lot, right? But as your own custodian, there is no MetaMask support that I can recover my seed phrase with.
Exactly.
And
you
that's
have to be careful.
Correct.
And actually, that's a good point because there's a ton of locked up value that's never going to be recovered.
Yes.
Because if you forget your seed phrase and you can't access your wallet,
nobody can.
You're done. Nobody can.
Right.
Nobody can.
Right.
No one can. And actually, I know we were half joking when we said if there was only a platform, but I think that what is happening with Tuttle Tribe in helping to onboard people into the space and making it frictionless, I think the more that you as an organization does that, and the more that the people building in this space think about how easy or making the process easier for people to onboard, it's going to broaden the adoption of this space exponentially. Because right now it's still very difficult, right? So once you eliminate that friction, it's to the moon.
And our view on this is that, sometimes we learn things through consuming them digitally because this is so new. Because there are things people are scared of, they're unsure of, they feel like I might need to be more technical than I am. We actually believe there's a value in working with someone that you trust in person.
Yes.
And sitting next to them, to your point,
that's a Tuttle
and
Tribe
doing
plus,
that correct, definitely. Doing that on the computer. Let's bring it out. Let's do it together. Now, will that scale? Will that always be the thing we do? No, but in this moment, that is what's needed.
Exactly.
And that's what we're responding to.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think you're covering a huge space by doing that and really onboarding and also having the person-to-person interaction that goes beyond just the Web3. It creates this joint place where people converge and new ideas are born, and new projects are born, and new value is created. So I think it has, in the case of what you're doing in Tuttle Tribe, I think it has all those side effects that are all positive and network enhancing. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I believe in the power of community, right?
Yeah.
I know that that's a recurring theme, and we keep hearing that word, throughout our responses.
Yeah.
But communities working together are very powerful, and they can make and bring about incredible change. So, one of the things that I love is all the people I've met. I've probably met more people in the last year that I can today consider incredibly close friends. Both of you, right?
Yeah.
You know, prior to us diving deep down this rabbit hole, you know, we may have seen each other at events or whatever, but like really forging true relationships, it's incredible, and everybody's kind of helping each other up. It's amazing.
And it's also, to your point, I think it's fantastic. Sometimes I cannot believe it myself, the way I began to operate with this, because it's supposedly it's a trustless technology, a permissionless technology, very transparent, and we trust each other so much with so little, right?
Yeah.
Here,
that's right.
Have an ETH, you know?
Yes,
yes,
that's so true.
Keep me the ETH
Yep.
and send it back, and send the monkey, send the, you know, the toad. So it's like
a lot of trust here.
It's actually really interesting. Like, what's the likelihood that somebody you meet at an evening party, and some time throughout the evening they come to you and they say, "Can I borrow $3,600 like right now?" Like, what's the likelihood that you're going to give them that money?
Exactly.
You're not. But in these groups that we're all a part of, and in kind of this space, if somebody says, "Hey, can I have an ETH?" Wishful thinking to an ETH was $3,600.
I know you said that, and I was like, "Oh, I haven't checked the market today, but I doubt that it's at that."
But I have.
I hope.
And I've gone. You know what? Here you go.
There you go.
Here you go.
I'll front it.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
Right. That's right. Yeah, a lot of trust. This community is really special, you know, place for that having each other's backs mentality and just having fun together. And I'm so grateful to both of you, you know, coming and hanging out with me today for Tuttle Talks and making this inaugural experience so fun. And I am hopeful that, you know, the folks who are listening not only learned something and had a lot of fun with us, but they want to join in our community as well. Or find a community that suits their interests and their needs. So we hope that you will join us at Web3 Equity. You can follow along with our journey on Twitter at Web3 Equity, on Instagram at Web3 Equity, and you can really become part of this fun by owning one of our NFTs, which are called the Tuttle Tribe. And that Tuttle Tribe ownership unlocks access to our educational experiences and to that community that has your back, that is having fun learning together in person. And so we hope to see you, whether it's at one of those events or again for the next Tuttle Talk. So thank you so much for being here with us.